Hi Gillian. Hi Jennifer. Hi Karen. Nice to see you all. How are you? How's your week been? Okay. It's been quite nice weather, hasn't it? Are you needing anything? Anything? Any bits of you that feel like they need a bit of love today? Yeah. Okay. Um, we'll start seated. I have a plan, but we'll start seated, and maybe a belt would be good. Oh, there's some. A belt would be useful for later. And also I'd like to do a little back arch sequence so that you could, hi Simon, I know some of you have bolsters. If you don't have a bolster, a block, we're going to lie over it later, like a block like that, or cushions as well. Something firm is good so that when you lay your weight onto it, it's not going to just kind of collapse into nothing. If you're finding, if you've got a bolster but you think it's a bit high, get a blanket as well. So then your bum, because that is, I know for some people that's going to feel quite high if you've not done, if your back's sore, then get something that, like a blanket, so you've got a little bit of a lift under the bum for when you come down, so it doesn't feel like such a big lift. So yeah, come to your comfortable seated position, and close your eyes or lower your gaze. And just begin to notice how you're feeling. It's been, it's the end of the week. Very often, you've been working, or even if you've not been working, it can be quite challenging. Holidays have their own challenges. Sometimes taking us outside of our normal patterns. And to help you make that break from the world, of the outside world or the world of work or whatever it is you've just come from, let's just place our hands over the eyes and help you bring some focus inward. And maybe that feels good, I hope so, just to get that pressure over the eyes. And the eyes need darkness, and very often, especially at the moment, in fact, when there is such light nights and then the sun's up early, can disturb your sleep, and that makes it hard for the brain to switch off. And even if that's not the case, very often we do have little street lamps and alarms and things like that, phones, laptops, that flash at us. So a couple more breaths here. As you hold your hands over your eyes, notice if your shoulders are sort of lifting up. Can you kind of relax the shoulder? We'll bring the hands down in a minute. But just now, just notice if you added in some tension unnecessarily to the shoulder area. Can you reposition your hands so that there isn't that tension? So bring your hands down. Enjoy that feeling of resting hands. And then we're going to come to lying on our sides. So this is where the belt might be good. So if you, or a scarf or something. So let's bring our, actually it doesn't matter too much, just find a side position that you can easily see me. And prop your head up on your hand. And before we do anything else, we're going to lengthen through the ribs. So you're shuffle your elbow away from your hips, away from your body. So that's supporting elbow. You could even press into the other hand, lift up a little bit to create space between the ribs. You can do that a few times. And then we're going to bend the top leg. Take the foot, press the foot into the buttock, and then we're slowly moving the knee back behind us. If that feels okay, if it feels very intense, then maybe don't move the knee, but just work on holding the foot. So we want to release the front of the thigh and the front of the hip. So sense of, obviously you're going to feel it quite strongly in the thigh, but can you also make the stretch come into the front of the hip? So that's where moving the knee back can help. Let the head be heavy in the hand. So although it's quite intense on the leg, you can kind of keep your cool by resting your head. Relax the face. Deep breaths through the nose. We're going to release the foot. We're going to extend the foot. So at this point, you can have both legs straight, or if you feel quite wobbly, the bottom leg can be bent. The foot is parallel with the floor. Press your the top hand into the outer thigh, and can you push back into the thigh with the hand? Push back into the hand with the thigh. Push out through the heel. Push out through the external thigh. So we're activating the outer thigh. And then this is where the belt might be nice. You can bend that knee and loop your belt around the ball of the foot. Bend the knee quite a lot. And we're not going to worry about straightening the leg at the moment. We're going to bring the knee and press it into the outer arm. And then slowly from here, straightening the leg. If it feels appropriate. If you're feeling a bit stiff, then maybe just keep that softness in the knees. And so we can sort of alternate between bent leg and really pressing into the arm, and then relaxing the leg a bit, so you go for the more of the hamstring stretch, more of a stretch, and then the strengthening as you press into the arm. So there's those two states of sort of being quite soft and being more strong. And so we've got the belt so that we don't feel tension in the shoulder. So hopefully you can comfortably hold on to the foot without tensing up the shoulder. So if you're finding that you've added some tension in, can you readjust how you're holding? to relax the shoulder area. And then we're going to just release that foot, put the belt away, and take the foot, sorry, bend the knee, so we're holding the foot with our hand again and coming back into that front thigh stretch. Maybe go deeper here if you feel, feel things are a little looser. So that means taking the knee back, bringing the foot in more. And then we're going to come up to sitting. So release the foot, just come to sitting for a moment with a cross leg. And then creep your fingertips forward. So we're staying on the fingertips, so there's lots of space for the arms. We're not yanking again, so that gives you hopefully opportunity to sort of relax the shoulders more. And if you want to come low, you can. Working the hips, into the hips a bit. You can press back through your sitting bones, that can feel quite good. And then we're going to come up, we're going to do that on the other side. So we're lying on our side. So I'm just moving my head to the other end of the mat. Head is propped up on the hand. Before we do anything, let's lengthen the ribs, lengthen the side body. So lift the elbow and shuffle it away. So this hopefully will make the waist feel taut and long, and space between the intercostals. And then make sure the head is really resting. You're not holding it up. It really does. It really can give its weight to the hand. Then we're bending that top knee. We're going to hold the foot. So hold the foot and press it to the bum, into the bum, as much as your knee will tolerate. We definitely don't want pain in the knee joint itself. So if it's a stretch in the muscle, that's fine, but no sharpness in the knee. And if you want a deeper stretch into the front of the hip, experiment with moving the knee back behind. And now, one more breath here. Release the foot. So the foot is extended, the leg is straight, and you can lift that leg, quite a bit if you're comfortable. It's strong on the hip. Press the hand into the thigh, the top hand, and then let the outer thigh push back into the hand. So we're just activating the outer thigh, which is when you have strong outer thighs, that will correct any tendency for knock knees. If that's something that you're aware of, your knees sort of floating in a little bit, then strong outer thighs will help. And we can use the belt now. We're going to bend the knee, loop the belt over the ball of the foot, So before we think about straightening the leg, you can press the knee into the arm. So now it's the inside thigh. And in preparation for a, possibly a bakasana, a crow, maybe see if you can move that knee higher up the arm. Getting that flexibility. And then from there, stretch the leg. Foot towards the ceiling. And if this is causing your tension to creep into the shoulder, then can you adjust? So that's why we're using the belt, to help you have a little bit more ease in the arm and the shoulder. So bend and straighten. And then we'll release the foot. I forgot to tell you that pose is Anjaneyasana, which is said to be the name of a sage, an Indian sage who held that position for a very long time. And then we're holding the foot again, and we're going to just come back into that thigh stretch and see, explore it a little bit. Maybe the foot can move away a bit more. The knee can move away a bit back behind you. You'll be glad that you've done this in a minute, because we're going to work into something a bit stronger. So I want you to start you gentle. Well done. So let's release the foot. You're going to come all the way up. Just sit for a little moment in a cross-legged position. Can you remember which foot was in front? Can you adjust? So it's the opposite foot. And then maybe a little forward, fold, fingertip pressure, light to the floor, and pressing the sitting bones back behind you. So there's a sense of going two directions, forward with the fingertips, back with the sitting bones. Crown of the head can move forward too. Hopefully feel some interesting sensation in the hips as they stretch. Get a little stretch for the hips. Full breath in and out through the nose. And then we're going to come into downward dog. If you're set up, I'm not set up for this, but if you can kind of roll over into downward dog that way, depending on how your mat is. So you roll over your knees, you can do that. And then tuck the toes under, bend your knees, lift your sitting bones, press the floor away. We're going to bend the right knee a lot and bring the ribs right down onto the knee. Well, not to the knee, to the thigh. And take a breath in and out. And then do the other leg. So the left leg, bend it a lot. Press your left ribs onto the thigh. Take a breath in and out. And then hopefully we've prepared for this. So we're going to come down to kneeling. Get your block, if you've got a block or cushion. This isn't essential, but it's a nice, I think depending on how, everyone's going to have something slightly different, but I recommend having something under the bum. We're going to sit back onto the block, and we're going to position our feet so they actually come to the outside of the buttocks. So just move my camera a bit so you can see. So So instead of sitting back on the heels, heels are to the outer edge of the hips. So if that is feeling really uncomfortable, you can come to kneeling again, take your thumb and bring it to the middle of the calf muscle. So it's actually two muscles, or there are two muscles there, but we're kind of splitting that area with the thumb. You can do it with both thumbs, but maybe just one at a time if you're feeling. So you're kind of creating space for the bum to come down between the legs. And then try the other side as well, because I know it's a bit awkward. And then we're sitting back. So immediately you're getting this stretch again for the front of the thighs. So we're resting our hands on our knees, trying to sit upright. You can press into the feet, into the toes, roll the shoulders back and down. It's quite awkward for the feet if you have a tendency to cramp in the feet. So you could put something under the front of the feet. We're going to take our hands behind us. We're going to walk the hands back a little bit. So immediately we're going to feel more stretch in the thigh. It doesn't have to be a huge movement backward. And then let's do like a little pelvic tilt. So think, Elvis Presley hips. I must think of a more modern, and not everyone remembers or thinks about Elvis Presley these days, but he had that famous sort of pelvic tilt. So that's what we're doing here. Maybe Beyonce does something like that. I don't know. There must be a modern day icon who I can refer to. So when you do that pelvic tilt, you're going to feel it in front of the thighs. Is everyone okay with this, by the way? Do say if it's very uncomfortable. We won't spend too long here. And obviously, if you're very, very comfortable here, then you can go a bit lower. Some of you will be very happy. Wherever you are with it, it is still a good, even if you're very upright, that's still a very good place to be for releasing the quads, the front of the thighs. You can do alternate hips and thighs. So you could sort of really work the right one forward and right hip up, and then do the other one. So that's another thing will work quite well. And then we're going to come out. So I just come back up to upright position for a moment, and then forward. We're going to come onto all fours and back to downward dog. Let's move my back. So let's take in your downward dog, let's take the feet as wide as the mat so that the little toes are off the mat, and bring the hands together. And we'll just take the right hand, we're going to grab the ankle, or maybe higher up the leg, if that's better for you. And we're gripping very firmly with that hand, and turning the chest to look up towards the ceiling. And obviously just bend the knees if you need to. And breathe into the back of the body. Relax the face and just be aware of your shoulders. We want to have a firm grip, but can you get that grip without the tightening and straining in the shoulder area? Or maybe if you can't relax the shoulders, then perhaps just don't grip so hard. Don't want to bring tension into this. We're going to swap. So the hand comes back. Take the other hand. Gripping firmly, turning, looking up under the armpit, the chest is turning. And breathe. And then bring your hand back. Bring the feet so they're closer together again. We're stepping the right foot forward. And we're going to take a low lunge. So your hands could be on the big toe side of the foot. And we could find that, that little squeezing action of the thigh, inside thigh into the arm. And then relax it, just maybe 2 or 3 of those movements. Squeezing in and then relaxing. So we're just going to hold this for a few breaths and let the head drop. If you want a slightly deeper, stronger experience, perhaps you can lift the back knee, slide the foot away. That can feel really good. And then this is where the belt might be useful. We're going to lift that back foot. So I suggest perhaps coming in, if you have gone quite far back with the back knee, then bring it in a little. We're lifting the back foot. And if you need padding, you can roll over your mat or possibly sit on a cushion or a blanket or something. It's definitely a good idea to pad up. If your knee's sore, you don't. So I've just rolled over my mat and we're just going to lift the foot and hold the foot. And then some of you might want to even slide forward a bit. Dropping the hips a bit lower. So more for the front thighs. Very, very hard-working muscles and good to give them a bit of attention. The hips will resist, and sometimes you want to respect that, and sometimes you want to gently sort of push in a little bit. So it's, you know, your judgment as to how deep you want to go. But sometimes you can with the hips, or very often they just tighten up out of resistance to protect you, and it can go a bit deeper. So in a moment, we'll come out. Let's take one more breath. And then we're releasing. So we're going to take a downward dog, a 3-legged dog actually. So press the hands down, take that right foot up and away. And then we'll take a pigeon. So the knee comes behind the right wrist. So remember, you can put something under the right buttock. You could even roll onto that right buttock a bit more if it feels too much, or tuck the toes under. And we're going to come low, so resting on your forearms, head down. As an experiment, and I think we've warmed up a bit for this, try lifting the back foot. You can wiggle the foot. If it feels quite nice, it feels very comfortable, you can come up and catch the foot. So we're back in that very deep thigh stretch. Again, once again. So if you, so the foot can move in to the buttock. That's very intense. But the foot can also press into the hands and kick away to open the chest. So that's a different feeling, and it's good as well. You can alternate between those. Don't hold your breath. And then one more breath. We're releasing the foot. And we're going to come out into a downward dog. Drop the head. Walk the feet. Let's take a deep bend with the right knee and bring the right ribs onto the knee. Keep pushing the floor away. Breathe in and out. And now the other knee, bend. Deep bend in the left. Bring the left ribs onto the knee. Keep pressing the floor away. And we'll take that left leg in a moment. We're going to lift it behind us. And then step it forward. So we're back in that lunge. So you can bring your knee into press the knee into the arm. You can let your body come quite low here. You can drop the head. Forearms could come down maybe. Relax the face. Maybe you'll enjoy taking the knee back a little bit if you want to go perhaps into a slightly stronger lunge. The back knee slides away, or even lifting it. So at this point, we'll do that that thing where we catch the back foot. So this means you probably going to need some padding. So come up a little bit, pad up under the knee. And you'll know, some of you will want to stay more upright with the knee, more aligned over the ankle, and some of you will want to sort of slide that foot further away so that the hips come lower. So, and you might want to adjust it as you're doing it. So we're just picking up the back foot, grabbing the foot. And as much as you can, bring that foot in. So we hope you've done enough warm up for that to feel sort of manageable. For some reason that's harder for me on this side. I don't know why. Challenge is sort of letting the hips drop, the hips resist. It's partly their function, to protect you, but they also can go into that tense. You'll know most, at times our hips feel stiff, and when they don't need to be that stiff, they're just holding on when they don't need to. So we will release the foot in a moment. Very gently letting it drop back. Hands either side of the foot. And taking a three-legged dog. So swing the leg all the way back. And then taking a pigeon. So the knee comes forward. Make the adjustments for your body. If you want something under the buttock, if you want to tuck the toes under, and then come down onto your forearms, rest the head. Reconnect with your breath. Deep in breaths so that you sense the movement, external or lateral movement of the ribs. Slow out breath, so we're lingering more on that out breath. And so in a moment when you feel ready, you can pick up the back foot and see how that feels, just exploring that. And some of you, if you want to then come up and catch the foot. And you can go really intense here, bring the foot in. But equally, maybe be easy on yourself if you're finding this pretty tough. So there's the two directions. The foot can move in, the foot can press into the hand. And that is a very different feeling, but also a very intense, more on the front of the hip. And the front of the chest, that sort of. One more breath here. We're going to come out. So we'll take a downward dog again. So make it quite a gentle one. Big bend in the knee. Bring the right knee, bring the ribs down onto the knee. Big bend in the left knee. Bring the left ribs onto the knee. And then we'll come back down to that kneeling position. We'll revisit that this time. And remember, you can have something into the bum. See how that's feeling now. So your feet are actually out to the side, and you can take your hands and sort of adjust your toes. So the toes point back behind you. And hands on the thighs, pressing on the thighs. Resting, tranquil, contemplative. Just want to do a little back arch. So come all the way down onto your belly. Hands are going to stay by your ribs, your lower ribs, and keep the head down. So what I'm interested in is those hard-working shoulders. So can you, so keep the head down, press into the hands. So the hands are quite active. They're not like mega active, but they're engaged, they're dynamic. Wrists lined up above your, elbows lined up above your wrists. And then lift the shoulders away from the floor so that you've got a feeling of stretching around the pectoralis muscles. The elbows pull in, and so they're going to press together, and then pull the elbows back towards the wall behind you. So the head is still down. Sorry, it's difficult to, maybe too many instructions and hard to figure out when your head's down, but the shoulders, the front of the shoulders move back from the floor. You can gently squeeze your shoulder blades together or zip them together, and then move the shoulders back away from the ears. We're not lifting the head yet. And then relax, completely relax. So let the hands just rest they can come in front a little bit so they're not having to do anything with the arms. We'll just take that position again in a minute. So we'll do it 3 times, so you get to really feel what's going on with the shoulders. So hands by your lower ribs, elbows above the wrists. We're moving the shoulders away from the floor. Squeeze the shoulder blades in, and then pull the tops of your shoulders back. I know it probably feels like, oh, not much is happening, but I suppose it's quite subtle, but it's good for you to have that experience of the shoulders moving right away, which is at the end of a week of work. If you've been sitting at a desk, I can, pretty certain that your shoulders will be rolling forward and down. So you get to pull them back, and then pull them back from the floor, and then down towards the heels, away from the ears. To help you, you can use your rhomboid muscles between the shoulder blades to squeeze all those muscles in. And then obviously the hands are working quite hard here as well, but we're not lifting the head. So then relax once more. And when you've had a little rest, you could do that one last time. And it's on that 3rd repetition that you get to lift your head. But we're only doing that if you can get the nice alignment of the shoulders. So when the head comes up, the head should just feel like it's kind of lightly lifting and not tugging on their shoulders. Just when you're ready, have a rest for longer if you need. And yes, actually, I forgot to say, you can squeeze your glutes a little bit in and thighs and feel those muscles up the posterior chain muscles up the back as well, working to get that lift off. But I was particularly, yeah, that looks good, Karen. I can see your muscles working there between the shoulder blades. And it can be a very small movement. It doesn't have to be a big lift of the head. And when you come up, make sure or be really mindful that the shoulders don't lift up, which is what I often see. I was doing some training actually with someone today about upward dog, and the woman was telling me, and I kind of know this anyway, that upward dog people hunch their shoulders up. So she says she never teaches it, she only does cobra, which is this pose, because she feels that it just causes so much misalignment for people. So come down and rest when you've had enough. And then, seeing as we've kind of done the thigh work, in a moment you can pick up the right foot. When you've had a little rest, you can pick up the right foot and have a go at reaching for the foot with your hand. So we're doing, it's called bow pose, a version of bow pose. We'll just do one foot at a time. So if you're finding reaching for the foot a bit much from this position, you can use your belt, loop it around the. So first we're pulling the foot in gently, feel that nice release in the front of the thigh. And then the foot can press into the hand. Bring a bit of flexion into the foot, and that should keep the knee very safe. We don't want any jarring in the knee. A little bit of flexion in the foot, and then the foot presses into the hand, and then you get that little lift in the front body. And what the foot is doing what you did through your own action with the hands to pull the shoulders back. Hopefully when the foot kicks back, you feel your shoulders doing that movement that we did, but it's the foot doing the work this time. Just keep that in mind, that feeling of that, where the shoulders are. And then you can come down and rest, and we can do the other side when you're ready. So make sure that you take a rest. Reconnect with your breath. So you're picking up the opposite foot. Actually, I forgot to say this on the other side. You could support yourself more comfortably here by, once you've reached for the foot, then the other arm. So we're on the left foot now. You have the right arm can support you. You could think of your arm as just a little prop, really, for the front body, and that might help. Just help you feel more comfortable. So you're on the forearm actually, the elbow. So we're bringing the foot in. You might find that you can lift the knee, press the pubic bone down, and then if you're when you're ready, flex the foot and press into the hand, so you've got that lift off. And as you do that, you can feel the firming of the buttocks, so the buttocks press in, squeezing a little bit in the thighs together, engaging those muscles. Pubic bone presses down, squeezing the muscles along the spine. And then flop down when you're ready to completely rest. We're going to slide our hands back towards the lower ribs. So you've got that right angle again. We're going to push the floor away, so we are coming into a sort of upward dog, mindful that you're not bringing loads of tension into the shoulders. So you've got time to hang about here and sort of roll the shoulders back and down. And then all the way back to downward dog. You're going to just step forward with the right foot. You're going to lift the left foot. We're going to bend that knee. And then see if you can reach for the foot. So one last stretch with a balance. I thought I'd not done much balancing with you. See how that feels. Maybe lift the knee. If you're feeling comfortable, then you can lift the knee. If you're feeling wobbly, then drop the knee. It's not so high. Releasing the foot, both hands down, step back to downward dog. Lift your left foot, step forward with the left foot, step up with the right foot, bend that right leg, and just reach for the foot. And more inner thighs. And then we'll come out and bring both feet together. So release the foot back down, so both feet are together. Squeeze your knees, bend your knees, squeeze your knees together, swing your arms back so they come back towards the hips, and then coming up, hands into the heart. And just, yeah, I think you're all turned towards me. If you're not, turn towards me. So. Take a deep breath in. We're lifting the right heel. If you think you're going to wobble a lot, by the way, you might want to just move towards a wall or something. Feel free. It's not cheating. It's a perfectly good thing to do. Preparing you in advance for the balance. Step closer to something if you feel you need it. So we're lifting the right heel. We're going to let the knee float up. We're going to bring the hand to hold that knee. We're sliding it down. We're bringing the foot in. So again, we've got that quad stretch. Can you completely relax that right foot and hip so that the arm is actually working quite hard here and the leg is not, on that side is just relaxed, just as an experiment. I'm just going to turn. And then we're going to just see if we can kick the foot away a tiny bit. So we're squeezing the left buttock in. Engage that thigh on the standing leg, inside thigh. And if you're kicking into the hand, make sure that that's it's not an action that brings lots of strain into the lower back. So do it and then relax it if you feel that it's bringing strain in. And hopefully you feel that the shoulder is moving down and that's sort of being with maintaining the alignment that we were doing earlier. So we're going to release the foot. That's called dancer pose. Both feet back down, hands into your heart. We'll do the other side. So we're ready. Lift the heel. Sorry, I'm trying to find a non-squeaky bit of floor. Let the knee float up. Bring the hand to the knee. slide it down, take hold, catch the foot, and then we can just try and relax the foot and the leg. So you've got the feeling of the arm really being supportive here. And then as you put the weight into the hand, that will, I hope, give you a sense of the shoulder kind of moving down away from the ears. And then as you kick back, that will pull the shoulder back a little bit, like we were doing manually with our hands. One thing, it's not for everybody, this suggestion. I like to hold my foot from the inside. I'm told that not everyone is happy with that, but for me, that feels really good for the shoulder. It rotates the shoulder a little bit, opens the shoulder. If you're not happy with that, then hold it the other way, but maybe try that. So if your shoulders are very stiff, then maybe that's not going to work for you. But and then maybe you're going to do the little kicking action with the foot into the hand. Remember that we want this standing leg to support. Glutes squeeze in, thigh squeezes in. No tension in the lower back. It's quite challenging. We're doing well. Let's just bring it down. And by the way, with these poses, you always just, come out into just a regular balance if you prefer. That's perfectly fine. So come back to the floor. Just readjust a sense of the weight evenly spreading down through the hips, through the feet, knees. We're going to come down into a squat. So if your hips are sore, then maybe you're not going to take such a wide squat. You could also sit on something or even sit on the floor. You can squeeze the outside of the arms with your knees if you want to. One last chance to work your inner thighs. Relax them as well. You don't have to hold them in that engaged state. You can squeeze them in and then relax them. And maybe have a little, if you feel in the mood to practice your crow, you could lift your bum, lift one foot a little, let the weight drop forward onto the arms, and then rock back and to the other side. Don't feel it, it's sort of end of the week, so it's nice to play with it, but don't feel you have to overdo it. Try looking forward, see if that helps at all. You must be getting really strong inner thighs with everything that I've been doing with you, so that I'm sure that's going to be helping. And then sit back on your bums. When you've had enough of your crow, sit back on your bums. Legs bent, feet in full, feet wide. Let your body just fold over your legs. Breathing up and down the spine. What I mean is, on the in-breath, have a sense of the breath moving up the spine. On the out-breath, have a sense of the breath coming down. So it's a 3-part breath, but we often focus more on the belly, the lower ribs and the heart, but let's just shift the focus to the back of the body. And I was learning that, I kind of knew this already, but I was reminded this week that how important visualization is. So if you're not feeling that the breath is doing it, then you can just visualize, and apparently that does the same triggers the same reaction in the sensory cortex, which is the part of the brain that processes this. So the same triggers are when you visualize as when the action is a sort of a literal action, real or imagined. I thought that was interesting. So all the more reason why we practice these visualizations. So you can come to lying on your back when you, oh no, we're going to use our little bolster. We're going to do a little, or a rolled up mat or a block. So if you're using a block, it's going to come sort of roughly at the back of the heart area. We're just going to lay ourselves down. If you're using a bolster, same space, same place. And before we drop the head, we're going to create a hammock with the hands. So the head drops into the hands. So the head is very supported. So there's no jarring movement or jerky movement downward with the head. The head is, and you know, maybe the head does come down to the floor, maybe it doesn't. But whatever you choose, you should, hopefully there's no strain in the neck because you're really supporting your head with your hands. Elbows can press out to the sides, you're really opening up the armpit. You can sort of stretch your tailbone away. So a little sort of, yeah, I don't know how to describe that movement, a little shuffling with the buttocks to move your tailbone away from your heart, head. So if your shoulders are, if your head is happy to come down, you can take your hands overhead and sort of keeps, I mean, I have a block here. I don't expect you to have a block on hand, but if you did, you could bring it between your hands, but have that visualization of that, as I say, you're pressing into something and reaching away with your hands behind you. If your shoulders are tight, maybe that's not going to be the thing for you. So you could have a little bend in the arms, but still extend through the arms. That can still feel really good. And if they're very, very tight, aeroplane arms is a good alternative. I realised I've not been doing enough of this sort of more restorative back arches, so, and they're so good for after a week of work. Some of you may want to straighten your legs at this point. If your back feels very comfortable, then feel free to straighten the legs. And then you've got options. You can come into a more resting version of this, so relaxing your arms down. You can, if you feel like you've actually had enough in that position, you can come out and just come into Shavasana. Or you can hold the more dynamic stretch for a little bit longer. So it can feel really good. So more of a resting back arch. So obviously we did the cobra, which is much more an active, and the Dhanurasana, is it Dhanurasana? Yeah, the bow pose, which is more mechanical, a mechanical, engineered back arch. This is more like letting your body, gravity do the work. a supportive back arch. And then it's probably time to take yourselves into Shavasana. So unless you're really loving this, the something under, yeah, if you really love the bolster stuff, some people do, then you could stay longer, but maybe just swap the position of the bolster to under your knees. That's more, that's also restorative, but it's more, very calming for your nervous system to get that bit of a support under the knees. Helps the lower back relax as well. We'll just do a little breath practice. We're going to breathe in for 4, a bit different from what I normally do. So breathe in for 4 easy breaths, and breathe out for 4. I'm not going to count you, because you will find the rhythm that we're all going to have slightly different rhythms. So just counting your in-breath for 4, and then relaxing into your out-breath for 4. So let that establish for a few more breaths. In and out through the nose. And then we're going to add in something called a holding kumbhaka. It's where you actually hold your breath. It's a bit different from what I normally do with you. So you can breathe in for 4, and then hold your breath for 4, and then breathe out for 4. And make that breath, it's not a pressured breath, it's not a laboured breath, it's an easy breath. So make that the main priority here. So there's just one other part to this. So you can breathe in for 4, and then hold your breath for 4. Hold the in-breath for 4. Breathe out for 4. And then hold for 4. Breathe in for 4. Hold your breath for 4. Breathe out for 4. Hold your breath for 4. And remember that you can determine how long that 4 is, whether you make that a very long breath or a very short breath, so that it's not feeling like you're gasping for breath. Just one more of those. Now completely relax your breath. Enjoy that feeling of having nothing to do now, nothing at all to do. Resting. Softening around the face, around the jaw, the tongue. A sense of body melting. Enjoy that feeling. Nothing to prove, nothing to do here. Remember that this space, this sensation is always available. Not dependent on space or time or particular kind of fitness or material goods. Or any particular kind of relationship. This is your practice. take an imprint of this feeling now. And then when you're ready, you can bring some small movements back into the body. If you're not quite ready, then it's Friday. Feel free to just rest as you are, not to rush back. And roll onto your side. Pause for a moment. Reconnect. And then slowly coming up. Get comfortable. Take a seat, comfortable seat. Just want to give you something for the, for where that sort of people, a lot of tension in the face, maybe at the end of the week, residual. So you can take your thumbs and we're just going to press them into this little area between the eyebrow and the nose. And you can drop your head onto your thumbs. So we're letting the weight of the head help you open into that point. And even roll a little the head. And then we'll make fists, and we're going to just bring those fists under the cheekbone. And again, you can drop the weight of your head. And then right above the cheekbone, right above the pupil, right above the eyebrow, hopefully there's one line above, there's a point literally above the pupil. So you can use your thumbs, or you could make little fists, and again drop weight onto from that point above the eyebrow, right above, directly above the pupil. So you could either rest your head on your thumbs or knuckles, use your knuckles. And we'll finish with just the thumbs together onto the third eye, yin tang, or the procerus muscle, which is also used to relax the lower back, calm the mind. As they say, it's the point where the divine enters the body as well. It's quite a nice idea. Take a full, easy breath. Thank you very much, everybody. Namaste. Very nice to see everybody. Hope you're all okay. Hope you've got a nice weekend, nice chilled out evening planned and a nice weekend. I'll see you soon. Yeah, take care of yourselves. Thanks very much, everyone. Bye, Simon.